It's Social Perspectives. Let's get informed and let's be entertained. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Social Perspectives. I'm Jay Gentile Everett. Our final segment as we deal with the subject of hate has to do with how can we change the trajectory of our society into one of civility, respect, and love. It is important to note that if we are to continue to do as we've done in the past, we will continue to receive what we've already experienced. Let's consider new methods of social interaction. Let's show courtesies in the public forum, like opening the doors for others or letting others who are trying to enter into our traffic lanes. Let's always be eager to express our thanks to others who are kind and considerate toward us. I've also noticed, even if we're at a public athletic event and we happen to pass by someone we know, perhaps they are sitting down and we're on our way to the concession stand, wouldn't it be wonderful to just bring back a drink or some popcorn that you would like to share with them just because you wanted to let them know this is a gesture of appreciation for their humanity. Also, let's be willing to assist our neighbors in like tasks and encourage some young person to hang in there with school and let them know our world is counting on them to be successful so the world will be a better place as a result of their pursuits. Whenever possible, let's take a moment and share with parents our appreciation for the amazing job they are doing with their children. It is important for our fellow members of society to know that all people are not filled with anger and resentment. There are some great people we have in our world. And the cynical views we hear about how terrible people are simply not always true. And we should not accept it as such. Even when I look at some of the social issues that we face in our community, like the LGBTQ community, for an example, they might be different from some of the rest of us, but they should not be viewed as diabolical nor evil. This is the only world we have. This is it. If we're going to be fulfilled, it must be done here. Our world is still large enough for us to be tolerant of all people and all views. They are representative of thoughts and processes in our world. The world does not belong to any particular group. We are multifaceted and multicultural. There are reasons for these differences that might not even be revealed during our existential period. This is one of the most fascinating things that I love about God. Clarity, along with a kind of perspicacious understanding, often comes later, sometimes even after we leave the world to which we are currently attached. The most important thing to note is we all deserve to be appreciated and fully recognized as a certified member of the human family. And our membership has nothing to do with the whims nor commentary of other men or women. Our membership is authentic because the same image of God that exists in the wealthy also exists in the poor. Let me finish with this. Let's all learn one thing, and that is to guard what we say. Let's guard our words. Our words really do create atmospheres for the manifestation of the same. When ugliness is the theme of our conversation, that means we are attracted to ugly things. If we continue to flirt with ugliness and violence soon, we will find it converging upon ourselves. Negative opinions are not healthy for any of us to promote, and things we say about others, unfounded, have a way of infiltrating our personal space and causing great havoc in the process. As a very young pastor, there's something I would like to share with you. I was leading a congregation of very mature parishioners. There are two quick things that I learned from one of these wonderful, elderly, saintly women. And she said to me, "Never ever try to run down a lie because you will never find its origin. And secondly, always keep your words sweet because you might have to eat them." Those are the words from the preacher on Social Perspective. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hunger has never been more satisfied as it is when it tastes like the delicious Southern cuisines from the Clinton Inn. Here, flavor is never compromised and palate satisfaction always meets the expectation. The weekly buffet features all of the special dishes to which we have grown accustomed. Come dine with us on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, starting at 11 a.m. and enjoy a scrumptious meal at the Clinton Inn in Laurinburg, North Carolina, where food has never tasted so good.
Hey, this is Gentile. You got to catch Social Perspectives each Sunday night at 11:30 p.m. on WBTW News 13. We got a lot of happenings that we're going to be featuring. You got to check it out each Sunday evening, 11:30 p.m. on WBTW News 13.
I've asked the great B. James Stevens III to come and just give some brief remarks, because he's a minister too. See, y'all see him in so netty all the time, but he's a minister as well, and I'm glad to have you here, and I'm inviting you to give some remarks to our fine congregation.
I was not prepared for this, but I'm always prepared for God. I'm always prepared for God, because I was crying. I'm so elated because this is a day that the Lord has made. And boy, it took Miss Rock for me to get in church. He says, I got Rose coming. I said, you got Rose coming to my grandmother's church? I said, then I'm coming. She didn't know I was going to be here. And saw me outside, gave me the biggest hug. I said, Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus. There's a blessing in this place with my name on it. There's a blessing in this place. Oh my God, it's so good. Yes. With my name on it.
slavery, poverty, and an insatiable desire to be emancipated from such. Have you ever wanted something so desperately you'd be willing to do anything for it?
Are you sure you want to do this?
I've never been more sure about anything else in my life.
You sure are pretty for a colored gal.
No worries, I'll think of something. Talking about scriptures, and I just think you a black whore.
Cuz, I think they know.
Oh God, why have you forsaken me? God is the only one who can judge us. And God wants us to have everything. Can I get an amen?
When you're in need of making the old new again with beautiful upholstery, D. Berry's Upholstery is the best, whether it's automobile interior or exterior, boats, church pews, or any residential or commercial seating and the like. Look no further. D. Berry Upholstery's got you covered. Call D. Berry's at 910-276-2265 and experience new again.
We have the distinct pleasure of bringing to you Hollywood that was manifested in Fairmont, North Carolina at the Mule Branch Baptist Church on my 24th pastoral anniversary. That personality to which I refer is none other than Mrs. Rose Rock, the mother of Chris Rock, the Hollywood acclaimed actor. Stay tuned. We'll be right back bringing you her story. Welcome back to Social Perspectives. We are here today with Miss Rose Rock. We're delighted that you took time to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed. And I want to tell you right off the bat, that was an incredible message that you brought today to our church. And people will be talking about that for a long, long time, I can assure you.
Well, thank you. But you know, it wasn't a planned message. I just tried to think of what I needed to say.
Well, you said it most eloquently,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you.
And your ability to connect with our group, and that was one of the things that I was most impressed with. You have done great things in your life, and you've done things that many in our area probably will never have any personal experience in doing. And yet you were so able to connect to the common mind, the ordinary person. They really ate you up on that. I tell you, it was fantastic.
I think when I walked in the church and I realized, oh my God, I'm in old-fashioned church. It was
Yes.
real church.
Yes, yes.
It's a feeling now because we have diluted and changed and reorganized the church so that it doesn't feel like church anymore.
Exactly
And
right.
so to come in and hear a real choir and music and someone actually, God forbid, clap their hands.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, this is real church.
I was so happy to hear you say that because I'm kind of an unusual guy in that I started preaching so young when everybody in ministry were old enough to be my grandfather. And so I've seen the changing of the guards and how this evolution that has taken place in the church. And I'll be quite honest with you, as you were saying today, sometimes we can go too far. We can evolve our way away from its original intent.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be the kind of minister where we believed in progressive revelation, progressive theological thought, and all of that, but at the same time, maintaining an identity that brought out people across the bridge.
Right. That is really important.
I think so. I think so. So you were born in South Carolina.
Andrews,
South Carolina.
Tiny little blip.
Tiny little blip. And then what happened after that?
I grew up and I got out.
You, you used a phrase that I hope to use again. And that phrase was, what was it you were telling me?
Well, I said graduation was emancipation.
That's
Because
that's
that
what it
meant, oh my goodness, I can get out
was. I
of here.
can get out of here.
Yeah.
So you went north.
Everybody goes north.
Everybody was going north.
But I don't know if you remember, you may be too young to remember, but back in the day, they would just say, oh, so-and-so went up the road.
Yeah, I heard that
They
term.
went up the road.
I heard that term.
They didn't tell you where they were going, but they went up the roads.
So it was New York.
It was New York.
Was New York a kind of social magnet at that time for social advancement, particularly for people coming from Deep South?
It was like a gathering place because it was so many people from the South, from all different areas of the South. And we all came because we needed a job or we
Yes.
needed to help out the family or whatever. And most of us left knowing that we couldn't come back.
Oh my,
I mean, you could come back, but you don't want to come back as a failure.
I see.
So you came up, had $10, $20 if your mama borrowed some money from somebody.
Wow.
And you came up and you got a job, and that was that. And you try to figure it out. What am I going to do next?
That was a kind of leap of faith. I mean, you referenced that earlier in your
Oh, yeah.
message today. So it really was a kind of leap
It
of
was
faith.
a leap of faith. You could stay, and what were you going to do? Work in somebody's home and be degraded, or work in a field and further degradation.
Sure.
Or you could go and try to find a job doing something that you would never, it took years before you would get a chance to do it in the South.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So everybody was going north for opportunity.
For opportunity.
Well, what about bigotry and these prejudicial ideas that existed in the South? And I mean, they were very profoundly existing in the South. Did you have any of that in the North?
People would love you to believe that there was none. The thing in the South is you coexisted.
I see.
When you went to the city, you were totally separate. So if you lived in a neighborhood, there were no white folk. Like in the South, it was a white person across the street or a white person down
I
the
see.
street. They don't want to be with you, but you could live in proximity.
I see.
But in the North, you were totally, if you were in a black neighborhood, you were in a black neighborhood. If you were in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, you were in a Puerto Rican neighborhood.
You know, you're really putting a lot of perspective on this for me, because as a very young boy, I would hear about people leaving Laurinburg, for an example, and they would be going north, and you would hear about the Bronx, for an example, or you hear about Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah. Oh, most Southerners ended up in Jamaica, Queens.
Wow. And so I wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah.
The Manhattans
A lot
and
of
all of that.
people ended up, yeah.
So this is interesting. You leave the South, then you would go to the North, but you would go and you would connect with people like you. That
Yeah.
maybe they came from the
Yeah,
South.
That's
And
what you did.
I see.
That's what you did.
So that's the way you survived, I guess.
Yeah, that is a survival technique. Because we were all there with similar backgrounds.
I see. So you would go there and you try to get a job, and I'm sure, knowing me like I know me, if I would have gone to New York, I would have been breaking my neck to try to be as big a success as I could, because I know I would not want to return back to the
That's
South
the whole
as a
idea.
failure and have to hear that all the time for the next however long. So I guess that's what was going on with
With
all
most of us,
Okay.
yeah, when we went, yeah. And then so many of the ones that came, they had to send back to help family. So that was the priority too, that you got a job and you helped your mother or your father or whatever.
I would imagine that Southern living during that time, particularly for the ambitious, would have been very challenging.
Well, you couldn't really be ambitious. Because what could you do? You could be at South Carolina State, say you a young black girl at South Carolina State, and you came home for the summer, and you wanted a job, say in the grocery store or
Yeah.
department store. They would hire an illiterate white girl before they would hire you.
Wow.
So that's the South.
And then it would be. I mean, this is really actually rubbed into your face because you could see this. You would
Oh,
know.
you can
You would
see
know
it.
full well that you were more inept. You were more apt than this person.
Yeah.
And yet only because of the color of your skin
Yeah.
you were going to be.
I mean, even after I left South Carolina and came back, there were still department stores where they had never hired a black person. Yeah.
I can't even. It's hard for me to even imagine
Yeah.
this. So you go north and you get there and obviously you started doing some good things.
Well, first I got a job.
Okay.
And then after, working, and I didn't go back to school until I had gotten married and had children.
So what would be some of the kinds of jobs that you would have to take going up?
Oh, the first
young
job
woman
I
like that?
had,
But you were beautiful. You're still beautiful.
Yeah,
So you
but
can go up there. You're a beautiful young woman.
I was working in, oh goodness, it's so.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was working in this place with, right now, it would be like a Dollar Tree. It was a huge store with just garbage on Broadway in Brooklyn. And I don't think it was anything in there over $1.98.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was a cashier, which I would never have been a cashier in
Down this way.
South Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you take that job and you work.
Yeah, and then while you're working, you're looking for what's next. And that's the thing that, people, you can't be complacent.
Right.
If you have plans to do something, you can never be complacent. So I'm working, I'm saving, and I'm looking for what's next.
All right, you're working, you're saving, you're looking for what's next, and you got to pay room and board and somewhere, I would imagine.
Now, I was living with my brother,
Oh,
so
so
of
you were
course
living-
you're still gonna pay room and board,
okay.
yeah.
So I would imagine that had to be, that was new for you, being
Oh,
young.
that was so new, and just learning how to ride the trains and not being afraid and
Oh, wow.
all of that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a whole lot more that we got to cover. You all stay tuned. We'll be right back with Miss Rose Rock. Stay tuned.
I'm gonna thank you guys so much for having me here today. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. I'm leaving you with this: choices. Choose faith instead of doubt. Faith will take you through everything, because anytime you think you can't, you know who's there to help you. Can. Choose to search for wisdom instead of walking around aimless. If you don't know, stop and ask somebody. Seek. Choose to pray instead of worry.
Yes, yes.
If you're gonna worry, don't pray. And if you're gonna pray, don't worry. Can't have it both ways. Choose love instead of hate. We dislike people we don't even know. We hate things we don't even know anything about. Always choose love. Choose to live with courage instead of fear. Understand, being fearless does not mean you don't fear. It means that you have enough faith to step out there anyway. Choose hope instead of despair. Always, hope is what keeps us going. Hope is what gets us out of bed in the morning. Always have hope. Choose joy instead of bitterness. Always choose joy. And understand this, you have to find your own joy. Nobody is going to give you joy the same as happiness. You know, we always think that stuff makes us happy. Stuff can't make you happy. When you leave here, all that stuff gonna be right here. And women, a man can't make you happy. You make yourself happy. If you're not happy with yourself, you can meet anybody, and they're not gonna bring anything more to you than you already have. So choose joy and live enthusiastically.
Amen.
Live with intent.
That's right.
Love with intent. Work with intent. And know that God has a purpose for your life, and He will empower you in any way you need to pursue it. Please know that. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope all of you enjoyed our show. Please contribute to this cause. We're committed to bring to the consciousness of our community an array of talent that's existing all around us all the time. So if you know anyone who's doing positive things in the community, or they have a special gift or talent, we would love to feature it on our show. Please contribute to this cause and help us to continue to present shows like this in communities all over the country. You can send your tax-deductible gifts to our ministry, P.O. Box 1078, Fairmont, North Carolina 28340, or you can Cash App us at $RENMIN15. Please remember, all of your gifts are tax deductible, and we look forward to you helping us serve others. So until the next time, we hope all of you enjoyed yourselves, and I'm J. Gentile Everett. We'll see you again on Social Perspectives.